Hi there, my name is Felix Beck, and the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell so you are notified when new videos drop. And this is the third of my reviews of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen side quests, Nemo, the 3 books in this series. And yeah, I'm of the opinion you don't actually need to have read the rest of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen to enjoy this. You can get these this Nemo trilogy separately, and I think it's really enjoyable. It's I mean, look, it's part of a much bigger whole, but I think it's fun to read on its own, and it is just like a wonderful voyage through Western civilization's culture, pop culture, for over the last 150, 200 years, and it all happens chronologically, which is I'll explain more when we get to it. So yeah, guys, before we go forward into the review, can I ask you, can you hit the subscribe button? That would be fan-freaking-tastic. Thank you very much. I am very, very grateful for everybody subscribed. If you subscribe, you can then enter my ongoing competitions. This week, the prize is the Godfather DVD Collection. All you need to do to win it, subscribe to the channel. Subscribing being very, very important. And then leave the hashtag, you broke my heart, Fredo. You broke my heart, Fredo, in the comments. And I will be doing the giveaway, hopefully on Sunday. I was supposed to do it last Sunday, but I forgot. So I will hopefully do it this Sunday. And listen, it doesn't really matter when I do the giveaway, because it takes me forever to mail anything out. I have a stack of probably 3-4 months worth of stuff to mail out at this point. We go through major renovations in my house, and those the last packages are somewhere in a box. We have to find them, and I got a bunch of new stuff I need to package up. Fine, let's talk about the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Nemo, River of Ghosts, the third and final of the Nemo trilogy. So we first are introduced to this character, Janny, the daughter of Captain Nemo, in 1909. She's about 15 at the time, and Captain Nemo's dying. He's on his deathbed. He's created this wonderful science pirate legacy island. They got Lincoln Island, which is very piratey, type of place. But they've always got cutting edge science as well. They completely control the seas. They're happy being pirates. They're happy being criminals, and cutthroats and whatever. They're very piratey, but they're just a lot of fun. But so Captain Nemo's dying, and he wants Janny to take over his legacy. She wants her to become Captain Nemo. She completely rejects him, and she runs away. She goes to London, where she meets with the dregs of London society. After getting a job as a serving girl, cleaning girl in a tavern, one night gets gang raped by a bunch of I would say not very nice people, leading her to embrace her heritage as a Nemo, as Captain Nemo, and become captain, and lays waste to the East End of London with the Nautilus that was nearby. So the next time we see her are in these 3 books. This is the third of the final one. The first one is called well, not River of Ice, Heart of Ice. It's basically she's in her early 30s, and it's she goes on an expedition to the South Pole, the North Pole, and basically she wanders into H.P. Lovecraft territory. She's in the Mountain of Madness. It's kind of it's a chase romp story, as each one of these 3 books are. They're all about 50 pages long. They're all very enjoyable popcorn chase romps with a lot of intelligence behind them, which is why I'm really enjoying them. But you first see her in you see her then, she's in her early 30s, and you see her at the beginning of this love. The last few panels, she meets the person who she will marry and become a husband and become the love of her life. And it's really you told in just a few panels. It's very, very touching. There's a little text story at the end, which takes place about 10 years later, when her daughter from the love of her life is getting married to was it Jean Robert, the son of the Sky Pirates, the French Robert Sky Pilots. So that's the first book. The second book is Roses of Berlin, where Jack, that's the love of her life's name, Jack and Janet's daughter, is captured along with Jean Robert by not the Nazis, by the Germans, which is headed by Herr Hinkel, who is based on Charlie Chaplin's parody of, I can't say his name on YouTube, of the leader of the National Socialists in the 1930s, a very, very naughty boy. And they've been captured, and there's this ongoing plot thread. Aisha, she who must be obeyed, the immortal ruler of the kingdom of Kor in Africa. She found a pool that if you bathe him gives you youth and immortality. So the first book, River of Ice, starts off with them raiding them and stealing her stuff, and that's basically it. They were just kind of having a laugh. Then the second book, Roses of Berlin, Aisha has made a pact with Hinkle, basically to use his resources to be able to kill Janny, to kill Nemo, still seething from the affront of being robbed like 15 years earlier. So that's what that the whole thing was. The whole thing of capturing, was it Jean Robert and her daughter Hera as a trap to lure them in. By the way, spoilers. Spoilers. As a trap to lure them in, so Aisha can kill them. And it's the absolute end of this great Titanic love story between them. So we just see the after image of it as Jack Arrowhead valiantly sacrifices her life so his wife, who's now in her mid-40s, can save their daughter. The daughter was never even captured. She stayed with the aircraft and repaired it, and swoops in at the end and saves the day, but not earlier, not in time to save her father. So that were in that one she was like in her mid-40s. So this is set in the 1975. So she's in her early 80s. There's a little text story at the end of the second volume which talks about her 70th birthday. Fine. So that brings you up to speed to where we are right now. So let's turn this on so we can look at it. So as I say, with all these reviews, how much you're going to like it is so dependent on how much you like Kevin O'Neill's artwork. I do. I grew up with it. It's very stylized. It's very, very cartoony, and it's I think just got tons and tons of sense of humor, which just reads through this. So now she's at the end of her life, as we've seen her entire life, and it's just been an incredible life. And you really want to see quite a bit more of it. I would love to see more stories from this era. And so this deals with very 1970s culture. Very like post World War II, which is what we're going to get into. Stepford Wives, like the emerging punk movement. By the way, just as an aside, I will be doing more comic book reviews. The next book I'm reviewing is, I'm going to start going through the Grant Morrison X-Men. It's one of the most superhero-y things I have, because I'm not really a big superhero reader. But I thought having a bit of a detached perspective might be interesting. If there's anything you guys want me to review, please let me know. Comic Skaters, please get in contact. I would love to feature you on this channel, do an interview with you, talk about your books, and help sell your books. That's really what I like to do, because I just love Comic Skate. And one of the big tragedies I think of this Nemo trilogy is they didn't crowdsource it. I mean, I think I can understand them wanting a manager to handle it, but if they crowdsourced it, they would have made a hell of a lot more money. And it's really designed for crowdsourcing. Again, the 50, 60 page volumes just really would have worked very well. Fine. So let's start getting into it. This is one of the front pieces. They have all these nice little things from the world of Nemo and League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. This is one like a pulpy novel about Janny, about Captain Nemo. Captain Nemo now, after when we first saw her, she completely rejected her father. Now she has become an absolute carbon copy of her father, after having this rivalry which led her to go to the Mount of Madness in the first book. She desperately wanted to not just be him but outdo him, which I think she did in quite spectacular fashion. This is I'm just going to show the contents page, because the contents, because it looks like content page, the credits page, because they're always so fun. This is a True Sweat for Men magazine. one of these like lurid, like super sexual 1970s magazine. I can even smell the print on it, like that weird print smell. So the story opens up. In the last book, Roses of Berlin, she had this big fight with the immortal Aisha, and Aisha says, "Fine, okay, I'll let you know where my pool is, so you can be immortal." And she goes, "Without Jack, who was her husband, who has died by now, without Jack, what would be the point?" And she whips her head off, right? But because she's killed her husband, that she's obsessed with her for the rest of her days. So it starts off with reports he gets coming in that Aisha, there is an Aisha alive, even though that she was killed like 30 years later. Let me just zoom in to. Yeah, I'm actually not sure who this character is supposed to be. I thought at first this was the woman. The text stories at the end of the first and second volumes were well, obviously written by Alan Moore, but they're written by this like socialite author. But I don't think that's who it is. So you can just see here, like on the Sunday Inquirer, Queen Aisha to cruise South Atlantic. Uh, this is Frau Malbus. I think she's supposed to be like the little spectre woman from Doctor No and from Rush with Love. This is Moores. The third guy is Moores, the son-in-law. Fourth panel is Hera, her daughter, and she's like saying, "We're gonna go and we're gonna get. We're gonna. This woman's alive. We're gonna go and find her right now." And then at the last panel. By the way, the storytelling is just great. You see how like. You see everything going on Lincoln Island in the background. You see it really sets the scene really, really well as you see the sunset and all this like planes flying around. So you do get a feeling where they are now. And then her grandson here, Jack, who is going to be destined to be the next Captain Nemo. Says Captain Grandmother, sir, which gives you an idea of how imperial she is. Is it really true that sometimes you talk to spirits? Because they're saying that she's just gone mad, that like she's gone absolutely insane because this Aisha woman can't be her, and she's totally obsessed with her. Let me go next page. Doink. We zoom in a bit, and we see like that now in her 80s that she's surrounded by ghosts, either metaphorically or genuinely, and she denies it completely. But yeah, her husband's there. I can't remember who this is, but these are all characters we've seen throughout Lincoln Island. And then you see you just see the ghost of her father. Again, a father that she totally rejected and now has become an identical carbon copy of, even more so. They set out on an expedition to find Saisha. She hires Mr. Colgan, who I have no idea who he was. I had to look, one of the many things I had to look up. Some of the fun of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is just working out all the references that we can pick it up. Which a lot of these ones I did because in the '70s I recognised a lot more. So this is an old Irish folk hero who's been living in America, who's like the super strong Greek god type. But he's like a quarter Greek god. And they set out together. Jack, her grandson. I just love this panel. By the way, I'm going to zoom in a bit. I just love you completely sold exactly the expressions of what the emotions there. And she screams at him because he stows away and hides in the tube. So after screaming at him, she like ruffles him on the head, and he's like, "What?" Because she's a bit crazy at this point. And so a lot of this is like a bit of a leisurely cruise down the Amazon to find this Aisha. There's a very like 1970s like Roger Moore, James Bondy feel to this whole book, this whole section of it. So they find themselves blocked, and they can't get through to these ancient like I think probably Lovecraftian. Again, I've seen these designs somewhere. It looks like, could it be Stingray, perhaps the Stingray civilization? I can't remember what they were called, the Jerry Anderson series. And then Kogan is so incredibly strong. He takes one breath, and like 2 or 3 hours later, he's able to clear the way so they can head off back down the Amazon to meet their quarry, and and he's got this like he's got this like little catchphrase, which again, no idea where it comes from, just as easy. Which is it. He's the employee of something called the Pink Child in the next volume, which is Century, which is the next one I'm going to start reading, but that's going to take me a long time to read. Now, one of the things is he does like his meat, and he causes a bit of upset on the boat because he's surrounded by Sikhs who see cows as being holy, and he's got a giant, massive cow pie here. He's like, oh, what have I done now? And so they have to like get rid of his food supply, force them to go to ground, which sends me into like more of the culture of the time. Essentially, they're in like one of these like 1970s movies, like The Land That Time Forgot, which I'm sure has some literary underpinning, which I don't know about because I'm not as clever as Alan Moore or as well read. So yeah, they go there, and again, I just really like that like 1970s in British movie feel. I can really like imagine the not the Jerry Anderson, the Ray Harryhausen like stop motion way of establishing it. And then yeah, you have Cogan has to gets in a fight with a T-Rex, and they think, oh well, that will sort out his food problem as they bring much dinosaur meat aboard. Yeah, let me just zoom in a little bit so you can see it in the background as they're loading it in. So now the Sikhs are much happier. Maybe get a bit closer. There you go. And they resume the quest again. All these are like denizens of Lincoln Island, the very piratey Lincoln Island. They travel past lagoon people, which is quite fun as well. This is like one of the last breeding colonies of the creatures of the Black Lagoon, and again, all through this, Janny is still talking to the ghost. So she, this is very near the end of their life, and we see they finally catch up, and they find there is an Aisha, and they're trying to work out what's going on because she was killed 30 years ago, and we see it's they are survived by like some form of like Yahtzee cloning. We see like a few different Aishas, and we see back here a bunch of young was it Hinkles obviously being cloned. So Martin Borman and basically all the characters. So this strikes me as being like a mashup of the Boys from Brazil, which is a quite a good book and movie about an attempt by Yahtzee scientists in South America to clone their fallen leader and create a fourth Reich. And Stepford Wives, they have all these like very buxom fembot robot women, which which are clearly I think the expressions on their faces kind of says it all, right? Like that's what they're there for. But again, this is all this kind of reminds me of Jerry Anderson, like one of the Jerry Anderson thing, just by like Kevin Neal's design. We have all this going on, all these like Stepford Wives, which is another movie from the 70s. This is where they're manufactured, and it ends up. They normally do end up in some kind of like James Bondian romp, but here we see the fembot Stepford Wives factory floor, and it's it ends up in a big firefight, as these things tend to do. Because again, this is very much reflective of just big blockbuster movies throughout throughout the last 30-40 years of cinema. So it's jumped that one a bit much. There we go, and then So again, they're normally like rip roaring adventures, and they do rattle along at a very nice pace. So Jack, the successor of the Nemo, he has compassion on one of the younger clones of Aisha, and helps her escape. So eventually, the aged Jenny Nemo, confronts Aisha and says, "Fine, I guess we'll have to have a sword fight again." And she says, "No, I learned my lesson last time." And just zoom in on that panel. There we go. She just throws a grenade at them and blows them all up. And then it ends up with, again, very, very blockbustery pterodactyls attacking the Yahtzee the Yahtzee outpost in South America and wiping them out. They escape in a very James Bondian speedboat, only to be eaten by the creatures of the Black Lagoon. Again, I did say spoilers, but honestly, I just think it's the journey. These books are just. I don't think the plot is that important. I just think it's so much fun to watch it happen. We have an interesting little coda here with Jack, who then finds out that young Aisha is not so good and is saved by the little girl from the Ishmael family. Like, her head blown up, and I've no doubt when we see them again in the next lead book, which is was it Century? Not Century. Yeah, no, it is the Tempest. That relationship will be carried out. There's a real epic quality to this because you really just do see little plot threads in the background grow over these 3 books, and as you do throughout the rest of the lead books. But again, that's just because Alan Moore is such an accomplished and good writer. So this is basically her last stand after she destroys her run. She's like I'm not leaving. This is where this hill I die on, surrounded by her beloved ghosts, her husband, her father, her beloved crew. Again, who you got to know throughout the series, so you do empathize with her. And they drag them off to go back home. And the coda takes place 12 years later. So I would say Jack here is about 10, so he's in his early 20s now. And there's a big social event. You see Miss Ishmael there, as they got this very close bondage that started over here. Let me just see. She's like his personal bodyguard. He's like the very dashing Prince Dakar. And this is all in '87, and they're there to unveil this massive statue of Janny, memorializing her life. I just think this is such an absolutely wonderful series of 3 graphic novellas. I think is the best word. It tells a life. It tells a fantastic life. It tells an interesting life. It tells a life of somebody not perfect, not wonderful, but just fascinating. It's a strong recommend. It's a strong recommend. Of anybody who actually just loves great storytelling, which is what this is. It's just great, enjoyable, fun storytelling. Strong recommend. I hope you read it. I hope you check it out. This is actually a reasonably good jumping on point. Fascinatingly, it's very like 2020, and like it's got this female hero, but it's just written well. When you write things well, you can put all these tropes in, and it doesn't get to be obnoxious. It gets to be organic to it. But again, good writing is something that's just so lacking from today's comics, which is why I'm reviewing comics from like 10, 15, 20 years ago. At the minimum. So again, anything you want me to review, just let me know. I'll go. I'm happy to review it. I'm going to be doing a lot more comic reviews. My name is Phila Beckin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.